Why do you think Gen Z isn't joining the US military as much as their predecessors before them? This isn't much different from older millennials and Gen X before 911. I remember they had a hard time recruiting before 911, and most people who did joined the National Guard for college money. The National Guard was a good deal back then. Serve one weekend a month and get college money while maybe being called to a natural disaster to set up shelters and hand out water. Recruitment between Vietnam and 911 was low, and that period lasted 25 years, so this is nothing new. They aren't seeing the ads because they are skipping the commercials. The military has a harder time now obscuring the bullshit work environment. They still do, but we got more transparency than before. We know it's not worth it. We can also see how veterans are treated after their service. Lot of good ideological reasons here, but a good chunk of people don't join the army for glory. They join for money. From what I've heard of army kids in my late millennial generation, I'm willing to bet the military isn't paying enough to be worth it. Used to be you could get your health and college taken care of, not so much anymore. For the kids who grew up with a military family, probably their parent who served talked them out to not join because of the toxic work culture. Millennials came of age in the 90s, and through the 911, there was a visceral sense that there was a threat out there and it was an immediate concern attacking over here. So you had to sign up and fight out there, or else there would be attacks over here. This continued probably into the mid-2010s, where even when there was doubt over Afghanistan, ISIS was the new scary thing that had to be dealt with. Gen Z does not have that context. It's a forever war to them. They didn't see the Twin Towers fall, and they didn't grow up around Cold War rhetoric. The US will talk about Russia or China, but without that context all they ever do is fight a rotating list of people in the Middle East who have no chance of ever affecting them. They have grandparents who still have PTSD from the Vietnam War, and they have parents with PTSD from the Iraq War, and they are most likely thinking a lifetime of flashbacks isn't worth a university degree and $1,000 a month in veteran retirement payments. Distrust of the government. There isn't as much patriotism, and young people are more aware of world events and how we have been pulled into wars in the past for less than credible reasons. We're a society coming off the tail end of 20 years of sustained warfare. Most kids these days have fathers, older brothers, or uncles who are fucked up from service or know someone who is. As information becomes easier to access, more people are able to see bullshit for what it is. You're not fighting to preserve my freedom. You're just making defense contractors rich, pretty much. More people are able to see that now. Every war the US has been in their entire lives have been stupid wars that made everything worse. Maybe it's because they don't want to be treated like vets. A lot of reasons already posted, and I agree with them, but I'll throw one more in: physical fitness in the general population. The US military has been complaining for decades that rising obesity rates are shrinking the pool of fit candidates. And when I say shrinking, I mean more than 50 of people are deemed unfit to join without a waiver. I don't know how this affects Gen specifically, but it's a significant factor in dropping recruitment rates for the last few decades. There hasn't been a war worth fighting in decades. From what I heard, most folks these days aren't eligible due to one reason or another, 'cause we know about all the SA and PTSD. They see how we treated Gen X and millennial vets. Oh, I don't know, it could be that the various global meat grinders are turning into sausage factories and they don't want to die. Ain't nobody going to fight for Biden or Trump.